I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm hungry, I'm working overtime. Let's do this big ass calendar. The purpose of the big ass calendar is hopefully to be able to look back in a year and see exactly what we've done, exactly how far we've come and whatnot. I have since doubled my book goal. My original goal was to read 12 books in a year, so that'll be one a month. For the month of January, it's now the 30th of January. For the month of January, I've already read 2.5. So I feel like that's actually not a completely unattainable goal. I've also thought back on like what I've read in 2014, and in 2014 I read 7 books. I didn't really even, probably 8 actually, now that I think about it. It's not like I really tried. Like it just kind of happens, you know. Like I'll listen to an audiobook or I'll be at work and like somebody will mention something about a specific book and I'll look into it, and every single waking moment I have to be doing something. Like I'm sure the Americans would call it ADHD. I like knowing things. I like learning about things. So I'll look into it. I will watch videos on it. I will listen to the audiobook. Something that I'm very grateful for is that my work provides me a Audible account, meaning I have access to a lot of audiobooks. Any chance I get, I try to listen to audiobooks. Yeah, so in 2014 I actually listened to 7 or 8 books. Physically read like probably 2. But yeah, so for the year of 2025, I think I can do 2024, which is kind of intense. But to be fair, a lot of those are repeats, a lot of rereading. People need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. So I'm just reminding myself about all the things I'm already doing. Like for example, one of the things I read was Atomic Habits. And a lot of it was really just reminding myself, oh, yeah, okay, so I need to be doing this more, that more. But part of it was also just reminding myself that I am actually doing a lot of the things that I did learn the first 1 or 2 times that I read it. A lot of that is also just kind of reaffirming within myself that, okay, I am actually listening to it. I'm not just reading through it to say that I've read it. I'm reading and I'm implementing and I'm actually using a lot of the things that he said. And they do, in my view, make me a better person and more content person, and just keep going up from there. So we present to you the big ass calendar. We're going to, I don't know if I would say plan out the entire year, but like the big Franny.
That's the most important one.
The big events. The Big Ahh Calendar is being sold by Jesse Itzler.
This is not sponsored.
I wish. Itzler or Itzler, I don't know, man. That skinny white guy. His implementation of the Big Ahh Calendar has a couple things. One being a misogi, meaning that like one really big event that you're leading up to, that you can look back and say, oh yeah, I did this one big thing. The other being Jerry's rule is what he calls it, which is where I don't remember if he says once a month or every 2 weeks, whichever works better for you. You do something that you normally wouldn't, or something fun, doesn't have to cost money, but something out of your usual routine. We're gonna pause this for a second.
See ya.
After a little visit, where were we?
Right, I was just labeling my schoolwork.
Yeah, so we're putting in the big things, like work trips, which we can't, all put them on there, but because they kind of come in on a month-to-month basis. School stuff. Jerry's rule. We're going to try and we've gone camping once, just the once. It's not really, since we moved here, it's been very much like just grinding away, just trying to work, trying to get money, trying not to spend all the money because there's a lot of people around us. This is just how a lot of the Americans are. There's a lot of people around us that live paycheck by paycheck. Worse than that, they're in credit card debt because they want to, do shit. They want to go out, live life. A lot of people, especially in the younger generation, which I don't blame them, but especially in the younger generation, they feel very nihilistic about the future, and they're like, well, I mean, you know, I might as well enjoy my life now, and then I don't give a fuck about the credit card debt, which I understand, but also no, because I don't know, it just feels very similar to when I was very depressed as a teenager, and I figure, like, who gives a fuck if I fuck up my liver with all this alcohol or my lungs with all these cigarettes? I'm probably not going to live past 22 anyway, so it just feels very similar, where it's like, well, now I have to live with the ramifications of what I have done to my body. It's not like this is just going to fix itself, you know? I feel like a lot of people just kind of live for here and now. They get into a lot of credit card debt, and they're like, yeah, I had a great live it up 20s, but that's just not setting up your 30-year-old self for success.
My
Frog?
projects.
Does that say frog?
It's it's project.
Nice.
These are just my projects.
Nice. Since we've gotten here, we've never really done a lot. Like we went out on New Year's, but not even last year. We just stayed in, which I think both of us are very much homebodies and prefer to stay in anyways. Gina likes to go dancing once, twice a year. I don't know. That's what she says. I don't believe it, but the evidence says contrary. But Jerry's rule is going to force us to go do stuff, and we've spent a little money on camping gear to do stuff, you know, to do that type of stuff. I'm trying really hard not to label it white people shit, you know, because everybody here in Washington State just likes to be outside. So they tend to do all the fun stuff, which is cool, but I'm trying really hard not to label it as thusly, because nature doesn't belong to anybody, and we really should be out in nature more. So, or Jerry's rule, instead of going out and doing anything that's out of the norm, we're going to try to go camping. Was it every 2 weeks?
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
We're here. Do you want to go camping here?
Right before my project, too.
No, right after. Deal.
We were gonna cut it.
Why?
Because are we just gonna do one big word, camping? We'll just put camping for now.
I mean, camping is like a full day to next day activity, so I feel like for the camping, it doesn't make sense to cut it.
You're right, that makes sense.
With other stuff, I feel like it does make sense, you know, if you want to have multiple things on one day, but the camping is like a full day thing. Obviously, we're mostly going to go on Saturdays, because we're going to do a big full body workout and then relax with the camping.
Where should we
until
go?
Sunday. I don't know. Somewhere not too far. I feel like I'd be willing to drive an hour max.
Deception Pass?
Sure. Let me check my ClickUp. The mobile app sucks. I don't know. I gotta check it on my laptop.
Okay.
Honestly, I was thinking of skipping the gym today. Also, the don't skip 2 days in a row rule comes from Atomic Habits. I totally forgot that.
Nice. Spring break is the 15th through the 22nd.
Cleveland.
Ohio, yeah, you said that. I remember. Okay, I know it's until the 20th. Damn it.
What?
It's the 16th through the 19th.
Something that I completely failed to do last year, but what I did the year before I met you, which I really liked, is because I don't usually like New Year's resolutions. I think they're garbage because most of the time people don't know how to implement them and don't stick to them, and they're known for not sticking to them. So when people don't stick to them, they don't even feel bad for not sticking to them because they're like, oh, everybody failed. So the year before I met you, when I was at my like most desirable weight, I told myself I'm gonna start my New Year's resolutions earlier. Like 3-ish months earlier, before the new year even starts, I'm going to get a head start on them. And then once it rolls around, it's going to be easier to stick with them. Because that's when everybody else like suddenly has this sudden urge and sudden like motivation to do things. So
Is that here? Would that be here? Goal evaluation?
yeah. Loki, we should have a quarterly meeting. That would be so fucking gangster.
Call it our quarterlies?
Yeah. That would be our first meeting somewhere here.
That would be it. and we camp and meet.
I don't mind. We could do a Blackwater outside edition. Yeah.
Yeah. When are we doing the AB Crepes challenge?
We should put that on there, shouldn't we?
That would be insane if we did that.
I mean, you're gonna lose, obviously.
And I'm gonna hate myself afterwards.
I know, so I don't know why you would do that.
I don't want to do it, actually.
I really do, but
But I can find someone you can do it with. You can do it with someone. I'll be there cheering you on.
I'd probably choose Zach.
Zach?
He's surprisingly, dude, on the last turnaround, he put away a lot of food before stopping. And I eat a lot. So I was actually really impressed with the amount of food that went into that man's body.
Damn.
So I think I would actually unironically, at first I was thinking Hugh because he's a bigger guy. Mm-hmm. But Zach is tall and he is very active. He bikes a lot, so I think he might actually eat more calories than Hugh. Whether or not we can camp, the blue has to be something fun outdoorsy. So let's say, for example, we can't go camping on Saturday because Sunday I have to leave and go on a work trip. I vote we still do something fun and outdoorsy. We go for a hike or anything like that.
What was that there?
So that the every 2-week thing is still in place. I do like planning things. I think I'm very much a creature of habit.
It's starting to look good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what else do we want to do? So do you want to...
June, we're going to buy the watches.
Mm-hmm. We should have a watch party or something. It's us filming a Blackwater video, just flexing our watches.
For like an hour straight.
An hour straight, yeah. Like we'll walk around and we'll just be...
Hey, watch it. That'd be stupid.
How often are we trying to release videos anyway?
Every week.
Every week. So if we
But
film two videos twice.
That's what I was saying. Every time we film, we should film 2 things back to back. Because then it sets us up for success for when I have a work trip. So we don't miss one like we did last time with the work thing. This is where we are. So the one we're filming now is going to go up. Ooh. Sorry. The one we're filming now is going to go up on there.
You got a lot of work.
Easy. Or Sunday, probably. Mm-hmm. I think Wednesday or Thursday would have to be a day when I skip the gym periodically, not all the time. It's just that I go pretty heavy at times and I don't want to burn myself out because Saturday I have to go heavy again. So I'm thinking Thursday sometimes I might skip since I feel like my chest, if anything, is already the easier thing to grow. It's just not a flex. It's just the rest is way harder compared to it. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, just write it down.
Sometime throughout the week, I want to do throughout the week, I think I want to do a cottage cheese week. Making simple recipes with a tub of cottage cheese throughout the whole week.
You know what I've really been enjoying about posting this kind of as knowing that it's just for us, and I'm kind of enjoying the fact that it doesn't get a lot of views either, is that there's no expectations, there's no disappointment because there's no expectations, because literally I'm just hoping that in a year I can look back and be like, we really did some shit.
Yeah. We're gonna buy these handmade watches. They're going to be black and edgy. And that's the only way to describe them without showing you an actual picture. They're going to be handmade and beautiful. Well, we are locking in, but we are also living a rich life, which means we choose what we spend our money on, which means we cut back on eating out and we don't go to the club and we buy bulk food items from Costco because we don't really care about all of that stuff. And then we spent frivolously. I don't fucking
Yeah, you
know.
said it frivolously.
On our watches in June. This is why we're not getting them. This is why we're not getting them today, but waiting 6 months. Well, 5 months now because it's the end of January to get them.
We're killing it.
We call it a budget, but Ramit would slap us silly if he heard us call his conscious spending plan a budget. But it is what it is. It's a budget. And basically, how our budget is broken down is we take our income and then we subtract our fixed costs, which is basically our rent, utilities, food, gas, insurance, just things that are mandatory in the United States and for living, one of the other. And then we add like about 15% to that amount to account for unaccounted expenses. And then we set our savings aside and we subtract that as well from our total income. And our savings goals include retirement funding, personal savings, and rainy day savings. And then after all of that, we have a little bit of money left over that we get to spend without guilt, however we want. And in June, we're gonna spend it without guilt on some watches.
Hell yeah. So we have work trip, days we film these, our bi-weekly camping trips,
Oh yeah.
which it does kind of bother me that a lot of them lined up, but then we kind of fucked it up with the Q4.5 thing, but that's fine.
I think it's fine. I think it's starting to look really good.
If you look at my book list, it's also very much tailored to, I'll read it to you. 2025 books, January, which I've already read, Home Service Millionaire by Tommy Mello, Atomic Habits done. I'm halfway through How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is a reread. February, I'm hoping to read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins and Gap and Gain.
Everyone was wearing a flannel, and as always on Thursday, they call me out. They're like, "It's Red Flannel Thursday, Gina. What are you doing?" I'm like, "I don't own a flannel." And then Darcy walks in and she slams a flannel on my table. I'm like, "Okay, I'll change."